Really random, but do you guys remember that vine that said turkey, 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 turkey? And then the one that's like green beans, potatoes, tomatoes, you name it. I am going crazy out here. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Philline, where we talk about what it's like being in your 20s in the 20s. And today, this episode is going to be super fun. It's a Thanksgiving special. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving Eve throwbacks and the truth of Thanksgiving and what's the big deal with Black Friday. So yes, and enjoy and listen while you're trying to snag all these deals today. Hey guys, happy Black Friday. Are you guys in a good mood? I think I am because, the day after eating so much, it seems like a very good day, but a lot of people are waking up early to try and reach specific stores with specific deals before other people do, and I truly hope that everyone is being kind of cognizant of the fact that the coronavirus is still a thing and the second wave is still a real thing, so I hope everybody's being careful out there. On another note, why is it so dark at literally 4:30? I hate this time of the year because by the time 4:30 comes around, I'm exhausted and I really don't know how I'm going to handle staying at home all winter. It's ridiculous, honestly. But yeah, Black Friday, the greatest day of the year where overworked retail workers are stretching themselves thin and people are feeding into the system of these fake sales and spending hundreds of dollars. The only thing that I know most people are probably freaking out about is that PS5 because I know damn well the first 2 weeks it came out, it was insane to even get into the virtual lines or even get the PS5 in your shopping cart online. It was ridiculous. I mean, Marcos and I were up till 1 o'clock the day that it came out, and even that following day, all day, we tried to get it into our cart and the website kept crashing, especially Walmart. So Walmart, get your shit together. And since a lot of the shopping has gone online, maybe I should be the person to tell you that clothing item that you've been staring at that's in your cart right now, you don't need it. Trust me. This is the time of the year where people start to drown in debt again because all the sales, and it's nice and everything that things are discounted, but people tend to use their credit card more this time of year, and it leads to starting the new year with a bunch of debt, which ties into the fact that it's such a different time with Black Friday this year and Thanksgiving. Nothing really makes sense. It doesn't even feel like the holidays. Families can't even come together. And usually every year, me and my family friends, we get together and just hang out at someone's house. And I'm sure everybody else is the same. But now you kind of have to think about who you want to see. You want to keep it to your close relatives, maybe even just the people you live with, because the second wave of COVID is pretty crazy and I just want it all to stop. Like, this is pretty cuckoo having to deal with this coronavirus shit. It's just so bad sometimes. And I worry because I feel like some people still won't care about the fact that coronavirus is happening in the midst of Thanksgiving because they're going to want to see their family. So I hope that everyone is kind of, careful about it. And it's crazy just thinking about it. Like a year or two ago, I was just at the local MJ's for Thanksgiving Eve, getting absolutely shit-faced drunk with my friends. Do you guys remember all of the Thanksgiving Eve memories that you have? Because I honestly don't. It was such a crazy night that I pretty much forgot about most nights when I would go to MJ's. But Thanksgiving Eve, that was always such a big deal in my town and neighboring towns, and it really was one of the biggest holidays where people were kind of driving around, and the instances of drunk driving was kind of at its max on Thanksgiving Eve, and you would think it's New Year's Eve, but Thanksgiving Eve is actually worse. And I remember specifically me and my friends knew that, and of course me and my friends knew that blacking out was the basic goal of the night. we would Uber to MJ's and we would get there by like 6:30 or 7 and stay there till almost 2 or 3 in the morning. But what's crazy is that it wasn't always for everybody because the MJ's at my hometown is where everybody used to go for Thanksgiving Eve, and it was basically like a huge high school reunion, not just for my town but for the towns surrounding as well. So sometimes, if you got like a friend you don't want to see or an ex you don't want to see, it's not really the best place to be on Thanksgiving Eve. But yeah, it's still a good time. And I think it's crazy, like thinking about it, that it was about a year ago that everything really was different. And now it's such a different time. And it's not even just about the timing that I'm kind of growing out of that whole I'm young and partying stage, but just everything going on in the world. It's something even minuscule that I miss, just being able to go out and seeing my friends after a long time, catching up, and just celebrating today and celebrating the present. Really crazy that it was only a year ago when these things were available and easy to access. And on top of those traditions of going somewhere with my friends for Thanksgiving Eve, me and my family would also go to Florida, I think a few days after Thanksgiving or literally right after Thanksgiving. And it's those little things that I truly, truly miss. And I'm kind of starting to come to the realization that everything's basically going to be so different from now. And I hope that things kind of resolve and fix themselves with the coronavirus. I mean, that's what I really just miss about Thanksgiving Eve. It's everyone just kind of getting together and celebrating all together at the same time in one place. And I really hope that we can get back to that eventually. It's definitely not a priority. I mean, there's so much more worse things going on out there, but just knowing that even that is so hard to obtain right now, it's crazy. I know Thanksgiving is already over, but I feel like sometimes people forget that there is somewhat a different story behind Thanksgiving and what actually happened and how we are celebrating it today. It's kind of different because we're not really educated about what actually happened with Thanksgiving. And I think school does a lot to kind of block away the negativity around Thanksgiving, and they kind of make it like a huge feast, a huge celebration, something positive, but there's actually a whole lot more to that. I mean, facing us, we see a lot of food, pumpkin spice lattes, hanging out with family, turkey with stuffing, even though I prefer ham, mashed potatoes, pies, and giving thanks for everyone just coming together. Am I making you guys hungry, or are you feeling sick because of how much you ate yesterday? Well, anyways, the history of Thanksgiving is actually kind of sad and dark. There are a lot of massacres of Native Americans in their homeland when the English came here. So it wasn't a whole kumbaya sit by the fire because we made peace on who owns what land. In school, we have a different view of Thanksgiving. And again, it kind of ties into the fact that how flawed our education system is because it makes us think one way towards something instead of just presenting the neutral event and what happened exactly. And everything we've learned in school misses the smaller details. And it'll make you wonder why, as a country, we actually celebrate it. Because, when we're taught Thanksgiving and the concept of it, the details are so softened to the point that all the facts are hidden. And in truth, it was a hot mess. In most places, we celebrate Thanksgiving as a huge celebration to give thanks and be positive, but in the mainlands where Native Americans actually resided in and still live in to this day, it's actually called a National Day of Mourning. If you think about it in the perspective of the Indians that lived in this country, it was like welcoming someone into your home, teaching them your ways, making them as comfortable as possible, like how to grow food, how to survive in the new place they just landed in. And basically, you get taken complete advantage of. And the same people who you welcomed with open arms, they are basically taking advantage of everything you've given them and more, making it worse. And in history, specifically for the Indians that lived in this country and their generations today, that was the start of the end times for them. I mean, smallpox was introduced in Massachusetts and killed basically 90% of the population that lived there. And that was just the tip of the iceberg of all the issues that were coming up around the time that the Pilgrims landed in Massachusetts. So it's just something to remember when we're celebrating Thanksgiving and feeling festive, that although now today it's kind of more of a commercial holiday and it's really centralized and focused on shopping deals and people fighting over things and new technology coming out and discounted rates, just everything that has to do with buying things, it really is based on a kind of messy and negative historical event that stripped people in this land, the life that they knew, into something else that was brought in by other people. And it's kind of interesting to me that this is kind of the basis of how we're celebrating things, and it's like a celebration about how people took over someone else's land and took advantage of them. It's kind of like the system was already screwed from the start. I like to think that this was not always the case, where the answer was violence and we celebrated violence, and there was a point where that was not a thing. But even going back to the Pilgrim Age, I mean, taking over their land, it already was a hot mess back then. And I think it's crazy that even today, there's still issues with systemic racism and oppression with Native Americans here. The Native American groups in the US definitely don't see Thanksgiving as something to celebrate, but rather a day to mourn those that were taken advantage of and basically struggling with people who were driving them out of their land and hunted and basically exterminated by the settlers during the 1620s. So while everyone is kind of being thankful, grateful, and just having good memories with family and struggling to buy everything that's on sale, it's important to be aware of the Native Americans that did struggle at the time and support them in any way possible. One of the ways that I can think of at the top of my head is to steer away from the stereotypes against Native Americans that might appear in school, in events, or even holiday decorations, because I know there's still a lot of Native American influence in the holiday decorations for Thanksgiving. And although Native Americans now only make up about 2% of the US population, they still go through a lot of issues. The first one being access to health care. The Native Americans are at a serious disadvantage when compared to the US population. They are dying at a higher rate, and their life expectancy is 5.5 years less than the average in the US. On top of that, high school graduation rates are much lower than the average in the US population, with only 67% of them graduating than 80%. And get this, there are still tribes in the US that are supporting the reservation of their land. They don't want to give it up to the government. And how crazy is that? Like, imagine your own land, your own space is at risk, and you can't even sit comfortably in your home without the worry that the government is going to take it away. And on top of that, the quality of living is not as good as other places maybe in the US. There are still 40% Navajo Nation households that don't have clean running water. And that's crazy. Only 2% of the US, and 40% of that 2% don't have clean running water. That and Flint, Michigan just irks me. There's something that needs to be done because everybody deserves clean water. And on top of that, the violence against Native American women is still a persistent problem in tribes in the US. In an article that I was reading, more than 4 in 5 American Indian and Alaska Native women have experienced violence, and more than 1 in 2 have experienced sexual violence. So that's still a major issue, especially in Native American communities. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in these communities, and I think the first step as a general population is realizing that they are still in desperate need of attention. And I think a few things we can do is donate to any Native American related organizations and indirectly help out, because this is a holiday about being grateful for what you have, and everybody deserves that equal feeling that they are living a happy life here in the US. So yeah, I think that kind of in our generation, in the 20s and future generations, it's our responsibility to change previous thinking and previous habits to the point where we give more attention to those who need it, especially with the Native American community. They are getting smaller and smaller as the days go by, and it's sad to think about the possibility that maybe the next few generations, there won't be any Native Americans. And I mean, that's a big part of our history and culture. And I think it's important to recognize that we do need to give them more attention. And that's why I always get confused with why we celebrate Thanksgiving and even Black Friday. Oh my God, Black Friday is a whole nother story. Now, Black Friday kind of irks me more because these places claim that they're sales, but really they're just increasing the prices and calling it a sale by discounting it to basically the normal price. So oftentimes we can't really pinpoint the exact stores that are genuinely having sales. And that's why it's such a problem, because everybody loves a good deal. If you're going to see something that, oh, it was originally $120 and now it's $60, you're going to want to take it, whether or not you need it. And then the ball starts rolling. There's something called shopping momentum. Once you buy one, you're not going to want to stop, because it's this psychological impulse that, oh, okay, I already bought one, so let's just keep going. Let's buy this, let's buy that. And next thing you know, you're $500 deep. And guess what? All the things that you bought that you don't need, that money could have easily gone straight to your portfolio and into investments. I literally will never stop stressing that money can be used in much better ways. And I really, really hated Black Friday. I still remember how crowded the malls were and how much I really hated just waking up at 4 a.m. Yes, my friend made me wake up at 4 a.m. one time, and I was there till literally 12 hours later. That is so crazy. I was trying to hit every store possible for these deals and just spend useless amounts of money on things that I honestly didn't need. But listen, on a completely more positive side topic, the way that everyone's going to be shopping today is going to be so different from how it's usually been. I mean, everything's going to be online, and since coronavirus is happening, I think that'll benefit us in the end. And personally, for me, when I order something online, I know how much work it takes to return something, so I'll be less inclined to buy something if I'm really unsure that it'll fit me or if it'll work in the apartment, things like that. However, there's a bright side to Black Friday shopping, and that is the sales sometimes can get super legit and you can get a lot of Christmas shopping done. Literally, I think just from today and yesterday alone, I was able to cover most of my Christmas gifts. But if there's something that you're going to do, if you're going to go shopping in person, the one thing I stress is to really give attention to the smaller businesses. Forever 21 and PacSun, Nike, Adidas, all those stores are going to be fine. They're going to be just fine through the coronavirus, but these smaller businesses, they are definitely at risk for struggling the most when it comes to coronavirus, Black Friday deals, holiday shopping, because already they probably can't even keep open or afford enough to really handle the costs involved in keeping the store open. So maybe they want to resort to online shopping only. These are the businesses that honestly require more of your attention and places you should probably check out. I mean, some of these places have really cool things and it's very different and unique from the other stores that have just the general items and normal things that other people may have. But these smaller businesses can really add a splash of uniqueness in your closet, in your house, or anything that you're trying to buy from other stores. And since everything is basically going online, it's easier for you to access them. There's probably some places that you look up on Google Maps or your Apple Maps and you see that it's way too far, even a small business, and it's not worth it. But with just the click of a mouse and typing on the keyboard, you can access their website directly and be able to purchase all of their items. And truly, I think that's awesome because imagine the coronavirus when technology wasn't a thing. Yeah, technology can be bad, but it also gives access to everybody in the entire planet access to stores, smaller businesses, and it really helps businesses still stay available during the pandemic. To also tie in with the Black Lives Matter movement, there's also a lot of Black owned companies and businesses that would be amazing if people consuming items would look at and check out, and your purchases will really help them as well. So it's really important to try to support these businesses and actively be a part of keeping them alive. Another benefit of shopping kind of going online is that now, probably instead of Black Friday, they're kind of focusing on something more like a Cyber November, and that gives people a lot more time to rack up the money they need and not have to bulk on one day or one weekend. But this is the future, and just like movie theaters, I wonder if online shopping is going to become more of a thing as the years go because of the coronavirus. Are there going to be more populations shopping online versus going in person? Honestly, I highly doubt it because just the activity of getting up to go shopping, it gives you a little bit of outdoor time, breath of fresh air, and some things that you can do with your friends. I don't see it completely going away, but it might change how Black Fridays are in the future and all different types of holidays. But please, please, please remember that there's still a whole ass pandemic out there and to be extra careful and avoid the crowded areas and long lines in stores because it's very easy to catch something even at a store like that. I don't know. In a way, I feel like this pandemic really gives the overworked retail workers kind of a break because there's not going to be hundreds of people coming at your face and fighting over things and just the general stress of holiday shopping. I think it definitely gives the people their deserved breaks, and with more people shopping online, I think that also just benefits so much in not causing so much congestion. You guys, the Elizabeth Garden State outlet, something like that in Elizabeth, New Jersey, that was the outlet I used to go to quite a lot. And just thinking about how much traffic there was, now this year, I highly doubt it's going to be as congested. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure there was like a football game that weekend too in the same area. So even that just kind of decreases. But I think because of that, a lot of people are going to be ordering online. I think a lot of people also don't think about the fact that packages might not get to you on time. That's what's stressing too, because although there's less people in retail stores, now there's going to be more people needed for delivering packages and things. So that's, UPS workers, Amazon workers, FedEx, all different types of companies that help in delivering packages. I think that's why the sooner the better. If you want to get something, you might as well get it ASAP Rocky because who knows how long these wait times are going to be for you to get your package. Which then again adds to my favorite thing that I have during the holidays, and that is anxiety. The Thanksgiving anxiety just is such a great addition to already the crazy life going on. And it's just the anxiety of everybody kind of being outside and coronavirus spreading worse. And on top of that, having to get gifts on time. It's very hard for me to not be anxious, especially during the holidays. So it is a really hard time for me, and I'm sure it's hard for other people as well. Because think about it, honestly, I'm more worried about the retail workers because they literally have to be exposed to a bunch of other people that they talk to help with products or other things they need help with at the store. And that scares me the most. I'm scared for them. So I hope that people are being proactive in not engaging in in-person shopping or being a part of larger crowds like that. So, yeah, just Thanksgiving and Black Friday, it's kind of iffy for me in terms of whether I want to be really traditional and super involved in the holidays and festive. It's just hard. And it's even harder now because of the pandemic. I think I'm starting to realize a lot more and think about the true history behind Thanksgiving and Black Friday and what really is it. We've definitely lost the awareness of Thanksgiving itself and the fact that it's not about the current deals and what we have to buy and what just came out. It's about being aware of our history. And I really didn't want to make this a history-based podcast episode, but I think it's important. There's a lot of people who truly don't know the history behind Thanksgiving, and believe it or not, even I don't really know it that well. And since I was born in the Philippines and kind of growing up in a Filipino culture, we're not really centralized on the American history. And I think it's important for not just myself, but everybody in our generation to be aware of our history and why we celebrate things and kind of think about why we do things, because we start to lose the true meaning behind something because we're so used to being in a cycle of wanting to buy everything, the sales, the PS5 coming out, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and from Thanksgiving on all the way until the new year, it's all a huge blur. And especially, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it was a huge blur because I was so invested in getting all these things for other people and not really being in the moment. I think, at least from what I can see and experience and just observe around everybody, the common theme that we all kind of experience together during Thanksgiving and the upcoming holidays is just enjoying the company of the people we love and being grateful for what we have in this life right now. Even tradition-wise, we're not really in the same kind of American tradition of Thanksgiving. It's basically this huge Filipino feast that we used to have where there was just a huge potluck of food. I mean, everything was Filipino food, maybe besides a ham or a turkey. But even that, everyone kind of has their own way of celebrating Thanksgiving. And I also think that's really cool because although everybody's different in the country, we all kind of have our tradition of being grateful and enjoying the time with each other. So I think that's just one thing that kind of is sad about this year because it doesn't feel like Thanksgiving and the holidays because of the fact that it's not easy to go out and just see a family member or a friend and be together in the moment. But I also think that's what makes us appreciate each other more because of the fact that we don't see each other that much. And it's important to realize that everybody is going through this too. One thing I am thankful for is the fact that I don't have to deal with these awkward dinners of people asking me really personal questions. And if you know some Filipinos, they like to get personal AF, and I'm not really a fan sometimes when they really get all up in my business, but at least I don't have to hear any of that this time around. But listen, I know this weekend is completely different from what it was a year ago or 2 years ago when you met up with your friends for Thanksgiving Eve, saw your family for Thanksgiving, shopped your ass out on Black Friday, celebrated even more in the weekend. But at least you can stay inside and actually cuddle up with people you love and maybe catch up on some shows or things. And actually get into your hobbies and things. Or maybe grab some books that were written by Native Americans. I think I'm definitely going to try and get my hands on a book that was written by a Native American and kind of understand their history more and their views on Thanksgiving and kind of just be more self-aware of things going on in the world. Or even just watching all these holiday movies on Netflix. I honestly don't even know if they're any good, but if you have nothing else to do, why not sit back and watch some holiday TV? And just because you can't see your friends and have a Friendsgiving or Friendsmas or just celebrate the holidays together doesn't mean it's completely impossible. I mean, thank God we have technology. You can have a quick Zoom call or Skype call or FaceTime or house party. There's a lot of different applications that you can use to still get together. So there are things that can still be done, and I think that's what's awesome about technology. We can all still stay connected, and that's really important for not just our social connections with people, but also to kind of keep ourselves at bay. And in the middle of all the hecticness of driving around, going shopping, figuring out what you want to buy, it's important to kind of step back and remember what you're truly grateful for. I mean, hey, we're all still alive during this pandemic and we're all still trying to make it all work for ourselves, but at least we're trying and we're finding things that we like and our hobbies, and we're really getting deep into kind of our self-attention and love. And no matter how bad it's getting out there, there's always something still to be grateful for. And I think that's a very important kind of thought to come out of this weekend, that there's always going to be something good in a whole cloud of bad. And that includes the good of not going to see family members that maybe have a higher risk of getting coronavirus versus us in our age that may have a stronger immune system. Not that we're more immune to the coronavirus, but we're just less at risk. And just even appreciating that fact that even though we can't see these family members, you are on the side kind of protecting them from the coronavirus even more. And even these small acts of kindness, or even giving back to smaller businesses, Black businesses, Native American businesses, it's all just a kind of low story of kindness. And that is the type of energy we need these holidays, the type of positivity, kindness, and love that honestly the world needs a little bit more now, more than ever. So I truly hope that this episode kind of motivates you to do something kind, to give back to the community, or to give back to smaller businesses and helping them out during the pandemic, because we really can help make a change in these situations. So forget Adidas, forget Nike, forget Bath and Body Works. Find smaller businesses that are selling kind of similar products and just help them out. Even buy one thing. It goes a long way just for these companies. There's a lot that can be done in your community. All you have to do is look it up and figure out what you can do to even just slightly help out anything going on out there because of the coronavirus. And I think it's important to give back. So I strongly urge you guys to do the same. And it'll be such a good feeling to give back to other people and just help each other out. We're all human beings in the end, and we should all come together, especially during this time, especially during a different type of way we're celebrating holidays. So yeah, I hope that, I know you guys are listening to this on your drive or probably doing a whole bunch of other things, but I hope everyone listening stays safe. I hope all your families stay safe. And just remember and be aware that Thanksgiving is more than just the deals, and Black Friday is more than just sales going on and having to go on a crazy hectic buying spree. It's more than that. And it's a lot of giving thanks and giving back to the community and giving back to people who really need the attention and businesses that really need you guys. And I personally am just so thankful for being able to stay at home, being able to spend quality time with my siblings, being able to spend time with my boyfriend, being able to just dive deeper into my hobbies, to start this podcast and really just be more at one with myself and understand myself more. So, yeah, that's it for this episode, you guys. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you learned something about Thanksgiving and are just more aware about Thanksgiving and what it is, and try to look at Black Friday other than what it is right now, which is just a bunch of stores selling things at cheaper prices. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me at Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. My Twitter is at Philline. That's at FEELINPHILLINE. And my TikTok and my Instagram is at Philline Podcast. Just add podcast to that handle. Hit me up, and I'd love to hear everything that you're thankful for, and just share the joy and share the gratitude. We all need it these days, and why not support each other as a whole group of humanity to just make sure everybody is feeling welcomed, feeling loved these holidays, because it's a hard time on top of coronavirus. And that's it for now, you guys. Thanks so much for listening. Till next time. Bye.